وسلم عبده ورسوله. All thanks and praise be to Allah. We seek His help and forgiveness. We seek refuge in Allah from the evil within ourselves and the consequences of our evil deeds. Whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides will never be led astray, and whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala led astray will never be guided. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, alone without any partners, and I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is his messenger and servant. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu taqullaha haqqa tuqatih wa la tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun. Ya ayyuha an-nasu ittaqu rabbakum alladhi khalaqakum min nafsin wahidah wa khalaqa minha zawjaha wa batha minha rijalan kathiran wa nisaa. Wattaqullaha alladhi tasaaluna bihi wal arham inna Allaha kana alaykum raqiba. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. ثم أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار وما قل وكفى خير مما كثر وألهى. Our topic today, inshallah, my dear brothers and sisters, will be trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And thinking always good about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're all familiar with what happened, the event, the tragedy that happens in New Zealand to our brothers and sisters, leaving 50 innocent souls dead. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching us in Quran, and I'm quoting from Surah Al-Ankabut. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. أحسب الناس أن يتركوا أن يقولوا آمنا وهم لا يفتنون. And we will surely test you without, do the people think that they will be left to say آمنا, we believe, and they will not be tested? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also reminds us in Surah Al-Baqarah, saying وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجَوْعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. And we will surely test you with something of fear and hunger and loss of wealth and lives and efforts, but give good tidings to the patient ones. وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us in these two ayahs and many other ayahs that we will be tested. And if we did sabr, and if we had sabr patient, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will consider us from as-sabirin and will give us Jannah, inshallah. Also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us in Surah An-Nur, saying, وَلَا تَحْسَبُوهُ شَرًّا لَكُمْ بَلْ هُوَ خَيْرٌ. Do not think it's bad for you, rather, it's good for you. Because the terror attack that happened in New Zealand, we all have mixed feelings. Many of us are angry, frustrated, and feeling injustice done to the Muslim community, not only in New Zealand, it's also in all over the world. Some of us are not feeling any safe anymore in this mosque. You know that this tragedy happened, the terrorist attack happened during Jumu'ah prayer. Just imagine one person going in this mosque right now, killing all of our beloved brothers and sisters here. Not only elder people, but also children and women. Can you imagine that? 50 souls were taken in one day. 50 human beings were taken in one day, March 15. 50 of our Muslim brothers and sisters, men, women, and children, were murdered in cold blood while inside two of our mosques in New Zealand. I'd like to mention that if we have any crisis in our lives, not only losing the one that we love, but any crisis, any musibah, any disaster happens to ourselves, all of us react in three ways. The first one, we respond in a violent way. The second way is to respond by isolating ourselves and trying to ignore the problem. And the third one is to respond by discussing the problem and descaling it with our capacity, trying to understand why did that happen, and how can we stop it from happening next time, inshallah. And I want to start speaking today with discussing how can we avoid violence to respond, and how this is not even an option in Islam. I think that this is important because we have to be honest with ourselves, and we have to agree that all of us have anger inside ourselves. And we are feeling angry, we're feeling frustrated, we're feeling betrayal. Just imagine you're facing the Qibla and someone from out of the mosque comes in with a machine gun and killing maybe your brother or sister or even your son right in front of you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us in Quran, saying, وَلَا تَعْتَدُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُعْتَدِينَ. Do not transgress. Indeed, Allah does not like transgressors. And this is really important to speak about that because all the terrorist group, it's either ISIS or white supremacist or any of the terrorist group out there, they use the anger, they use our anger and redirect it in the wrong way. Many of us here saw at least someone that decided to take a violent act or try to shout or yell about something that happened to him. And also, we hear stories back in Iraq or Afghanistan when people lose their loved ones, they decided to join one of these terrorist groups and try to do an act of violence. And as I said, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ordering us not to do that. As some of us also will find that this is an opportunity to label what happened as a Christian terrorist, or this is white terrorist, or do the things that we all hated, that happened to us, labeling any of the terror attack that happens all over the world, and labeling it by that under the name of the Islam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, مَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't even ask us to make people take Islam as a religion. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't even ask us to kill people. So how can you label that? This is not related to any religion. It's only related to a sick mind. Only related to an ideology that certain group of people have. The second way that a lot of people react when a crisis happens to them, that they try to isolate themselves and try to ignore what happened and don't even want to think about it, don't even want to hear about it. You'll be like sharing posts or talking to another person about what happened in New Zealand, and you'll be like, no brother, I don't want to hear that. I just want to go to work, want to come back from work, and that's it. Want to get married, want to have kids, and that's it. I'm praying, I'm a good person, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive me. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, remind us here, saying, مَنْ لَمْ يَهْتَمَّ بِأَمْرِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ فَلَيْسَ مِنْهُمْ. Whoever didn't care about the Muslims, that he's not one of them. So be careful, be very careful about that. You have to care about your brothers and sisters, not only in Thailand, but all over the world, because this is part of our religion. The third react that I encourage each and every one of us to do when any of these crises happen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching us this in Quran, saying, وَالَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. So the first thing that you need to do is to accept that this is the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the destiny of these people who died. They didn't die for nothing. They died for a reason. And also part of accepting that is to talk about it, is to share it, is to tell other people that, hey, we lost 50 souls. This is not only a number. 50 is not only a number. Wallahi, guys, when I was preparing this khutbah, I was planning to speak about the stories of people who died. I started putting numbers like 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then I stopped. These people could be any of us here. These people could be our brothers, or sons, or daughters, or any of our beloved ones. So the thing that I encourage myself and everyone here, please share about what happened. Talk to your coworkers, talk to anyone that you can about what happened, about how did we lose all of these souls for nothing, because there is a terrorist decided to take these souls one day, thinking that he's doing a favor to his ideology. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will let us know, inshallah, will tell us in Quran that this is not true. I want to share this quote from Dr. Khalid Baidoun. He's a professor in Arkansas University. He was speaking about how sharing these stories and ideas about what happened really helps. And not talking about the terrorist's name or even mentioning him is a good thing. He's saying, I don't know the terrorist's name, nor do I care to know it. I'm keen on knowing the names, remembering the stories, and celebrating the lives of the victims. And let me share some of these stories with you. On March 15th, in the city of Church of Christ in New Zealand, Talha Rashid, 21 years old, was shot and killed in front of his father. He was shot and killed in front of his father, Naeem, who was killed also there after that. On March 15th, Hazard, 17 years old, is the son of Muhammad Tirmizi, who is 42 years old, and he's currently being treated for gunshot wounds. May Allah give him healing, inshallah. Abdul Hayy Dardi, he was 4 years old, went to the masjid with his dad and 4 of his siblings, but he didn't come back this day. Imagine coming to the mosque today and not going back to your home, or losing one of your friends here, or your brothers or sisters. Muqad Ibrahim was only 3 years old. He went to the mosque with his brother and his father, but he was killed that day. Dawood Nabi, he was 71 years old, who welcomed the terrorist inside the mosque using his last words, "Hello, brother." And even with all of these stories and tragedies, today Imam Jamal Fuad, who was the Imam of this mosque, Masjid al-Nur, gave the khutbah. And he said something very important that all of us need to learn from. He addressed the world saying that their blood will help grow seeds of love. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us in the Quran, saying, وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ اللَّهَ غَافِلًا عَمَّا يَعْمَلُ الظَّالِمُونَ إِنَّمَا يُؤَخِّرُهُمْ لِيَوْمٍ تَشْخَصُ فِيهِ الْأَبْصَارُ. And never think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is unaware of what wrongdoers do. He only delays them for a day when eyes will stare in horror. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Allah is also teaching us very important meaning in Surah At-Tawbah, saying, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, يُرِيدُونَ أَن يُطْفِئُوا نُورَ اللَّهِ بِأَفْوَاهِهِمْ وَيَأْبَى اللَّهُ إِلَّا أَن يُتِمَّ نُورَهُ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْكَافِرُونَ. They want to extinguish God's light, His guidance, but God will not allow. وَيَأْبَى اللَّهُ إِلَّا أَن يُتِمَّ نُورَهُ. But God will not allow, for He has willed to spread His light in all its fullness. وَيَأْبَى اللَّهُ إِلَّا أَن يُتِمَّ نُورَهُ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْكَافِرُونَ. One of our brothers shared yesterday a very meaningful thing that really give us an evidence that only all these things happens for a good reason. And he said that terrorists thought killing 15 Muslims would stop Islam from spreading, will stop everybody from hearing about our religion, how peaceful and loving it is. The Quran was recited in the parliament in New Zealand. The adhan was called across the street, across the world, even on campuses all over New Zealand. The khutbah was aired on the national television there. The hadith was spread by the Prime Minister herself. The hijab was worn by all the women in New Zealand at that day. Congratulations, terrorists, you failed. And I want to discuss with you now, what do we have to do? What's our duties towards our brothers and sisters, not only in Tyler, but all over the world? First, we have to pray for them. All these people who lost their beloved ones, we have to pray for them that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them patience, give them sabr. Can you imagine losing two of your family members at one day during their salat? And some of them, they lost their beloved ones right in front of them. So please pray for them in your salat. The second thing that we have to consider is how to make our place, where was the most safest place for all of us, coming here to pray, not thinking about anything out of this place, more safe. How can we be more safe in our mosques? How be more safe in our events? How can we be more safe while praying to our God, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The third thing that I want to encourage everybody to do is not to be ashamed of being Muslim. If your name is Muhammad, you have to stop using Mu. If your name is Khalid, you have to stop being K. If you're going to the prayer, you have to stop saying that I'm going to lunch or I'm just meeting one of my friends. What is the problem with saying that I'm going to Salah, I'm going to prayer, I'm going to my mosque in Tyler? One of the most surprising statistics that 56% of the Americans have never met a Muslim in their whole life. Can you imagine half of the American population? They never met any of us. And that's the human nature. You're all the time worried about the unknown, scared about the unknown. I don't want to know that person. I never met a Muslim in my life. How can I trust them? All I can see in the media that they are killing someone here, or cutting, or doing this and that to women, or even stealing, or doing whatever that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders us not to do. So please be brave, be proud of your religion, be proud of your faith. Let me recap the khutbah very quick, and then we can pray for our brothers and sisters in New Zealand. We talked about trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and whatever happens, and whatever will happen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doing this for a good reason. Being patient with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being sabr, accepting the facts. Working through your anger and sadness in a productive way. Responding to the crisis in a way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed us to respond. Remembering the lives of the victims and sharing about it and talking about it. And understanding our duties as Muslims towards our brothers and sisters all over the world. Inshallah, our MSAs, our Muslim Student Association, is planning an outreach campaign. We're trying to reach to everyone in Tyler, on the square, the downtown, even on campus. Maybe having a coffee with a Muslim, or meet a Muslim, or trying to change that image that half of the American population have about us. So please support our cause, and if you can donate to our Muslim student organization, please reach out to me or Zikri or Osman, or even our sister Raji or our sister Ismi, inshallah. Let us pray to our brothers and sisters in New Zealand. اللهم صل على محمد في الأولين وصل عليه في الآخرين وصل عليه في الملأ الأعلى إلى يوم الدين. اللهم ارحم إخواننا الشهداء في نيوزيلندا. اللهم ارحم إخواننا الشهداء في نيوزيلندا. اللهم ارحم إخواننا الشهداء في نيوزيلندا. اللهم تقبلهم مع الشهداء والصديقين. اللهم أهلهم الصبر والرضا بقضاء الله رب العالمين. اللهم الحقنا بهم بالصالحين. اللهم انصر الإسلام وأعز المسلمين وأعلي بفضلك رايات الحق والدين. اللهم اجعل مجتمعنا هذا آمنا مطمئنا يا رب العالمين. اللهم آمن روعاتنا. اللهم آمن روعاتنا. اللهم تقبل إخواننا في فلسطين من الشهداء. اللهم اغفر لهم وارحمهم يا رب العالمين. اللهم امددهم بمدد من عندك يا رب العالمين. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. وأقيموا الصلاة.